The path of least resistance would land us squarely on the couch, sleeping in, binge watching TV, moving only when it's absolutely necessary. Running is a rebellion against comfort. It is a rebellion against the path of least resistance. Now, with running, many of us have a reason to run, whether that's some health reasons, mental health, wellness, or whether it's maybe you want a specific body type or you like the community side of running, or maybe you're just out here for the Strava kudos or the Instagram likes. Whatever it is, many of us have a motivation to move. Now, today I want to do a thought experiment where I want you to remove all of those reasons that you gave for why you run. Every single one of them. I want you to imagine a scenario in which there is absolutely no reason for you to run. There's no health benefits, no mental health benefits, it's not going to help you lose weight, you're not going to get Strava kudos, nothing. You have no reason to run. Would you still run? If you're like me, the answer would still be yes. But why? If health was not a factor, if wellness, if the feeling of accomplishment, if all of the reasons that you have to run are gone, why would you still run? Today is a thought experiment about running as a rebellion as it relates to meaning in life. A thought experiment about the absurdity of running. Many of you have probably heard of the concept of nihilism, and a few of you have probably even experienced it. But even if you're new to the concept of nihilism, I still think this is relevant because someone you know has probably experienced it, or maybe you later on in life will experience nihilism, even if it's just for a brief moment. When you experience nihilism, nothing matters. All of life's inherent value disappears. Nihilism is the belief that life has no inherent meaning, value, or purpose. All of your foundational beliefs have collapsed and you are left alone, staring into the void, asking yourself, what now? If all of your reasons for running collapsed, and yet you still chose to run, welcome to absurdism. Absurdism is the response to nihilism. Absurdism is the confrontation with nihilism, where we look the inherent meaninglessness of life in the face and we revolt, and we decide to choose to live a full life despite the lack of meaning. Like Sisyphus, who was cursed to roll the boulder up the mountain day after day, rebelling and choosing for himself to roll the boulder up and doing it with a smile. This idea, this concept means a lot to me because I went through a bout with nihilism. And through the whole thing, it was a very dark time, but there was a flicker of candlelight that never quite went out. And looking back, I think that candlelight was absurdism, and it was burning on the fuel of running. Think about this for a second. You lace up your running shoes and you run a couple miles away from your house, or you run to the top of a mountain or a hill. And then what? You just turn around and go back down. You turn around and go home. Why? Now add in the layer that many of you, like me, would be willing to do this with no goal in mind, with no reason to run, no race to train for. And so to me, running is absurd. Running is an absurd rebellion, a rebellion against the inevitable decay of entropy in this life, a race against time that you will always lose. And it is a beautiful dance with pain, mortality, and our humanness. Looking at some of the ancient traditions, the first one that comes to mind, probably because I'm most familiar with it is Christianity. Christianity may say that the absurd is holy or even divine. What is more absurd than grace and forgiveness and the idea that love always wins? What is more absurd than the parable of the workers in the field who are paid equal amounts despite the fact that they did not work equal amount of time? Buddhism, on the other hand, might see absurdism as less of a revolt and more of a letting go of the need to have a reason. Taoism, along those same lines, might also agree that it's more of a letting go because of the concept of wu wei, which is action without attachment. Letting go of the need to have a meaning behind everything. Islam, on the other hand, might also not see absurdism as much of a rebellion as it is their concept of fitra or fitra. I'm not quite sure how to say that, but it's the concept of original nature, or a compass that is buried in the soul that points you back towards Allah. Now, I'm far from an expert on any of these traditions. This is just my speculation and exploration on this topic. But running without a reason and absurdism in general helped me see the beauty in life. And so maybe running without a reason can be similar to some of these ancient traditions, whether it's a letting go or a form of worship or a call back to something greater. Whatever it is, it feels like rebellion. Now, most psychologists and philosophers agree that absurdism is not the destination. It is a stepping stone taking you to something deeper and more integrated. It is something that you transcend and include on your way traveling through life. And I think that is why you hear echoes of absurdism in these ancient traditions, whether that's the concept like grace or the concept of wu wei or fitra in Islam. Because absurdism doesn't pretend to know. It looks at the hard questions in life and it tells the truth that we don't know. Because the truth is, running is absurd. Even if you hold on to all of those reasons to run. You run up the mountain, you run your marathon, you get to the finish line, but you never really arrive. Life goes on. People keep living, you keep living, and yet we keep running. Like I said, it's the race against time that we will always lose. We will always lose in the inevitable decay of entropy in this life. But yet, we run. Step after pointless step, we find meaning in the meaninglessness, because deep down, I think we all know that the finish line is not the point. There is no point to running, because running is the point to running. That is the rebellion. And that is the answer to nihilism. Living life is the point of life. Choose to roll the boulder, choose to run, choose to live. Diving into this topic, I was a little bit worried that it would be a little too esoteric, that it would be a little bit too complicated for my little brain to be able to understand well enough to be able to explain it. And so rest assured that I am not asserting that I am right on any of this. This is, as always, just an exploration and a speculation into a topic that I found very interesting. And so I hope that this made you think and ask some questions up to yourself and maybe start a conversation with someone about the broad spectrum of human experience, whether that's nihilism or absurdism or anything along those lines. And I hope this did land for some of you, because absurdism has meant a lot to me as I have gone through my journey in life. If it didn't land for you, at a minimum, I hope it was thought-provoking or interesting in some way. And if it was, I hope you'll stick around, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right, gear for today for this abnormally cold summer morning. I had the new Mount to Coast T1s. I just barely got them last week. I've got 40 something miles in them. I'll be doing a review on those. And then I've got stance running socks, rabbit running shorts, rabbit running UV shirt that was not warm enough for today. And then I just have a Lululemon shirt underneath that, and then an Ogden made running hat. If you have any questions on the gear, let me know.